why should people work with me and why not? And when people are talking to you now and they say to you, Yuri, we have all those, talk to me in 3 months' time. You should say, hey, this is the time to do it, and I'll tell you why. Great. So, Yuri, good morning to you in Finland from Tel Aviv. The purpose of this session is to do like a short session. I'll call it a mentorship session where we can look at the status of your startup, where you are, what are your key challenges at the moment. And I would like to see if there is any way we can, at least take one of your challenges here, or maybe even more, and give it another angle or crack it in a new way. So the objective is that by the end of this session, you will see something new, which you can translate to actions. We live in the world of actions. Some people focus a lot of thinking and analyzing. There is a phrase in English called paralyzing by analyzing. Yeah, especially now in this Corona challenge that we have, there is a lot of people thinking and analyzing, but in the end of the day, the only thing that makes real difference in our lives is the actions we do. So I will try to be very, very practical. It's not a philosophical discussion. So if you can maybe share a little bit about just like a 1 minute of your product, give me your 1 minute pitch, as they say.
Okay, so I represent Gamer Health. We are servicing the esport industry, especially the esport teams at first, with a wellness app. The aim of the app is to have teams improve their performance and also manage risks from the team management perspective. Basically what that means is we tap onto the players' phones and different APIs and smart devices that they have to follow on their daily routines regarding nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress, and gaming as well. And then we present that data analyzed to the team management, the coaches, to enable them to make smart decisions and also to raise red flags if we see that there are problems. Let's say that maybe the player hasn't slept well for a few nights running, then maybe that's a topic if a big game is coming up especially. So that's essentially what we do. We were part of Hype's and Erste FC Köln's Spin Accelerator program, which we were quite happy to receive the best test case prize out of. We did the test case with SK Gaming, which is partially owned by Erste FC Köln. And it was very successful, and we're continuing with SK, and on top of that we now have 5 other teams using the service. And now basically because all the funding has been frozen due to the coronavirus, we're looking at different approaches that we can expand without having the resources that we were hoping to have at this point, basically.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, just to see that I got you right, you have a startup which is focusing on providing esport teams data so they can monitor, they can better manage their players.
Yeah.
If I also understand that this also can be then replicated to the fans of the clubs, so there is a growth, marketing also prospects there, because going to bigger numbers. And you have finished the Hype FC Köln Accelerator in a few months ago, but this is like from a different life to where we are now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something's
it's like,
changed. Yeah.
yeah, everything is, we need now to amend and to do some changes in everything we do, and we will discuss it today. And through the accelerator, you also was introduced to SK Gaming, one of the leading leading teams, esport teams in the world. And you've been doing a pilot with them, which I understand was quite successful. And now you're already working with other teams. So now I'm saying this belongs to the other world, and you said now when we talked and we haven't seen each other for a few months, a lot has happened, and you mentioned that now, what are the main problems? If you can summarize the 2-3 main problems you have now, challenges you have now.
Well, I would say that the main challenges are funding and therefore resources and therefore also time. So because of the lack of funding, so we had everything quite nicely lined up about a month ago to have our 400K seed investment in place. And then the news broke out that Corona is now in Europe as well, and it's not going very well. Then all the VCs, or the one VC company and two angels that were attached, all said that they need to rethink everything. And then basically the VC companies have now said that let's continue next year. And the angels are obviously not happy with that, so they're staying off as well for now. So
okay. So funding at the moment, the people you've been talking to said to you that they're holding now, and this really stopped the process. Got it. And what is on the business side?
So basically, what we were going to use that money for was to enter the market and then start heavy sales on the B2B side. But obviously now that we don't have the resources to do that, we had to rethink. So we managed to get a small Corona aid from the Finnish government. So we've done a small rethink, a COVID approach, if you will, to how to get market share. So what we're going to do is when we think that the app is better suited to a scalable audience, we will release it for free for a 4-month period for any team that wants to use it. The idea being obviously that a lot of the teams now can't meet very often, so they have to keep tabs on their players from afar. This means that they don't really know how they're exercising or how they're...
You're going to adapt your product to the post-COVID status, and adapt the product, and then develop, do the required developments, and then offer it, you mentioned, to your customers. But let me give you, maybe share with you some, because I'm talking to a lot of startups and a lot of brands, clubs now, in the last couple of months since it's all started. And I find it quite amazing that there is a big, I would say, group of people that are going underground. Yeah, they are all either depressed or shocked, or found a reason. Now they have a good reason to stay, still. And the other people that are using this period to stand out. Because if you are active, people will notice you now. Prices of all social media now, Facebook, Instagram, everything is go down crazy because there are very less people advertising. And now if you do something, people will hear you better. You can stand out of the crowd. So, and also, if you look at clubs and esport clubs, and again, for esport, I believe the opportunity is even bigger. As we can see, some of them are suffering because they had a lot of physical events. But overall, if we were looking at esport industry going to $30 billion in 5 years, I believe now it will come down to 2.5 years. Yes, speaking to esport experts and what's happening now in esports. So overall, you are in the right industry. Yeah, this industry is moving now faster. You saw ESPN just showing esport, in the main channels now. It wouldn't happen without the corona. So for esport, and some of the clubs, some of the players, and not only esport, in sports, are understanding that it is what it is, and some of them have more time now because there are less regular activities to think strategically and to plan strategically. Now, bearing in mind that everything now is going to be more digital, because as I shared with some of my recent posts, you can see that the gap between the generation is going closer now because of this, invitation for all of us to speak like we're speaking now digitally and use the Zoom and other platforms. So people will be more open for technologies, for virtual experiences. More people are exposing to esport now. And if you have, the Gaussian, if you had 5% people in esport, now it's going to be 30 or 40% exposed to this industry. Now, for you, I believe it's the amazing opportunity now. Everybody says crisis is an opportunity. It became like a cliche, but for you, it's definitely the moment to stand out. It's definitely the moment to speak to all the clubs, to all your customers, and gain market share and be ready. So when things will come back, you will be not 5, not 10, 100 steps forward. And I know it requires money. Let's look at that as well.
Yeah. But, so yeah. What we're trying to do now is in the next few months with this free campaign. Obviously, we think that that's going to be good PR. So that's how we're going to get sort of free visibility around is the PR. And then on top of that, I've talking to a number of associations. Typically, those are a certain country or an area associations for esports, and they've been quite happy to say that they would like to promote this as well on their in their networks. So then after we get, let's say, about 50 teams on board before June.
How many teams do you have at the moment?
6.
6. And you're planning to have 50 teams by
June.
By June. Great. How do you do that practically?
So basically, because we're giving it out for free through some of these associations, and then obviously through our own PR, a small marketing campaign on LinkedIn and so on, so that we catch the eyes of the important ones. And then obviously we already have good referrals from SK Gaming and a couple of other teams to help us along there as well. Then it becomes, for us, the main problem becomes displaying user activity. Because it's easy to get teams to use a free service, but in the eyes of the investors, then the next step is showing user activity, so that they believe that those users will stick around after the free period.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. You're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Other startups are facing similar challenges. The first challenge is how do you get to these 50 people and get them to sign a deal with you in a fairly short time? You mentioned like 2 months. That's, I would say that's a bold statement. And I would like to understand from you, how are you going to do it? The second stage is, how do you showed your future investors, let's say by the end of the year, that those 50 clubs are starting to convert their free users into premium users, yeah, or paying users, yeah? Or
Yeah.
how can you show a business model that is working there, yeah, in terms of revenue generation? But because most of the clubs are struggling with getting those 50 clubs, and I'm interested to hear from you. How do you plan to bring 44, 44 clubs in 2 months? What's your strategy?
So we already have a deal with National Esport Association of United States.
Yeah.
And then working on a deal with a bunch of other associations. So we have a list of, I think, 19 associations across the world. Obviously, one of those is the Global Esport Association as well. So we will talk to them and then hopefully gain their approval so that
why would they give you their endorsement? What do they get from that?
Well, basically,
Because there are
what they
100
bring
startups
them.
approaching them like you every month. Why should they work with you?
So the only thing that we actually can give them is the access code for the free period, which is for that association only. So they're giving it to their.
Okay. So they will give it as a freebie to their. So it's like they're giving value to their clubs.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So did you approach some of them already? They like it. They like the idea.
Yes, we've talked to 3 so far, and this is just this week. So at the NEA, we already have a deal with, and then hopefully close at least 4 more next week.
Okay. Now, when this association, I'm jumping fast, Yuri here.
Yeah.
So if association is sending an email to a club, do you think the club will pay attention to it? What's your experience there? Because, some clubs are ignoring it's for them, it's nothing. How do you know that this will generate business to you?
Well, we don't really. It's a hope at this point. It's an assumption.
Okay.
And actually, it won't promote. It won't.
Would they give you the list of the clubs so you can contact them?
Well, we already have quite comprehensive lists of clubs that we've built ourselves.
Yeah.
Over the past few months, so we could do a direct approach as well. And concerning some of the teams we already have, because obviously we've been doing sales for a while on an MVP basis, but still. So we do have direct contact with a number of clubs, especially the bigger ones already. For us, the associations are an easier way for us to build trust towards those clubs as well.
All right. Now, let me jump in here and share some strategic thoughts that I have so far.
Yeah.
I think we need to differentiate between tactics and strategic. Yeah. Strategically, if I understand you right, your plan is to be in the end of the year, yeah, ready for investors, what I call investable. And because you will need money, you will need $500,000, million, 2 million to expand globally and to do this properly, if I understand right, yeah? And grow fast because, there is no void, there will be more companies doing what you're doing, yeah, if not already. So basically you say to do it right, to do it fast, you need to raise money and you need to do it ASAP. We know now that you may get investors, but strategically you want to build the story to get everything in place. So you are 100% after validation and investable. and people are, investors ideally will fight for you. Yeah. Now, because you're in one of the most sexiest topics, which is esport, because you're working properly and you have your game plan, you need to wrap up and crack a few more topics to be fully investable and to get investors to really say, yeah, it's a no-brainer, let's move forward. Now, so to be in the end of the year, let's say we are planning a game where by the end of the year, you have, now the question is, what do you need to have by the end of the year to get yes from investors? Maybe it's not 50 clubs, maybe it's 10 clubs, but major clubs. Maybe it's only 5 additional clubs, but clubs that are growing to some kind of revenue generations. So again, throwing 50 is great, but I would look at the end game of this milestone. If you're looking to raise $500,000 by the end of the year, I will even speak to one of your investors or potential investors, ask them, what would you need to see by the end of the year that will make this proposal a no-brainer? What would I need to achieve? Because maybe you say to you, I don't need 50 clubs. I need 10 clubs, but show me that you can bring decent clubs, tier 1 clubs, and show me that they're willing to pay money and there is some kind of conversion to revenue after a few months in the team. So basically, with every game plan, we need to step in the end of this milestone and say, okay, our goal now is to raise money and to show full market validation. Our goal is to show that we can get the big teams or decent teams. And also the teams can look at this and say there is a revenue generation for them and for you. So they're happy to use it. For example, if there is a partner, is a team that can share this with their fans, or because fans are still here, SK Gaming fans, they have 3 million fans around the world or whatever, something like this. They haven't gone anywhere. They are more in the computer, more in front of the screens than ever. So if the product is good, that's the time to test it, to implement it. Now you're saying maybe we need to invest in implementation. So implement it for 1 club or 2 clubs in the beginning, just shows they can convert it and shows that there is a validation of conversion to fans or whatever the business model is. But if I'm an investor, I want to see by the end of the year that you have the capability to bring clubs, the marketing work, because if you have the greatest product in the world, but as a club, as a startup, you don't have the power, the sales power to drive it, I'm not interested. I want to see that you have the capability to bring traffic and to bring customers. So you can show me this. The other thing I want to see, that you can convert those customers into business. And if you can show me by the end of the year that you have 3 customers, 2 customers that have converted and managed to create revenue for them and for you, because if I understand right, the business model is revenue share here. So, wow, then I can do in my head, if I invest 2 million here, yeah, and then you just duplicate the model you've done, we are all happy. Yeah. Now, the other thing is branding. Yeah. Because in this time, as said, anything you do is simplified. So I'm investing now double the time, double the resources, people, and marketing, because that's a great time. We're now getting into China, more into the US, because now is the time to do it. People are in front of screens instead of 4.5 hours, 9 hours. Prices of marketing is going down. Now, yes, it's not easy. You may say, we don't have the resources. I say to you, find the resource. because this is what distinct regular entrepreneurs and ones that are, you know, are unstoppable. You know, it sounds like a cliche, but it is what it is. Some people are trying, some people are, you know, doing their best, and some people are getting the shit done. Now, if I'm an investor, I want to invest in the startups that are in the entrepreneurs that are getting the shit done. And they understand the opportunity and they find ways to do it. Now, so if I look at your strategy, I would focus heavily now on getting great customers on. I'm not going to, you know, I wouldn't count only on the association. I will call them. I will, you know, use all the LinkedIn activities and friends and people you know to get to the decision makers in all clubs. Because now you can help them generate more revenue. You can, some of them are suffering now. You are the source that strategically can help them raise, get more revenue. You are the platform to help them manage better their players and get better engagement with their fans. Now, if I'm asking an entrepreneur, why people should buy you, and he's like thinking, and he doesn't have a clear answer, you should know, you know, better than any time, why customers should choose you and why now. You know, I have it on my my wall. Why should people work with me and why now? And when people are talking to you now and they say to you, Yuri, you know, we have all those, you know, talk to me in 3 months' time. You should say, hey, this is the time to do it, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. Now, people say to me, Amir, it's Corona. It's not good to sell now. Why? What? You know, people telling me, wow, you're selling now in this crisis? And I tell them, absolutely. If I believe in my product, in my services, that's the best time for innovation in the world now. Innovation now is needed more than ever. And of course, we would like to push the wheel forward. We don't want to stay in the, you know, underground, depressed. We are pushing the wheel forward, and we look forward and we see what's going to happen. Esport will be bigger. Sport will be bigger. It will be different. But there will be new infrastructures and new technologies. Everything will be more digital, more automated. Look at your sales funnels. Look at your CRMs. Make them ready for the new world. That's the time to do it. Now, if you're selling faxes, no, don't waste your time. But if you're selling the next generation of technologies, the next generation of applications, there will never be a better time. Now, it's also a good time not to give a shit, not to give a damn about what people say. So they say. March on. People will always have things to say. If I would listen to my mother, I wouldn't be an entrepreneur. People always have things to say. The question is, where do you want to go? I call it torpedo mindset. Put your mindset there, and this is the best time to do it. So when you're saying to me, I would like to have 50, I will question that. Take a look at your end goal. Where do you want to be in the end of the year? What will make investors think that you're an investable startup? And then maybe it's 50, I don't know. And then plan in reverse and have your milestones ready now. And then unstoppable. Whatever it means. We have in our company, we have weekly games, monthly games. How many people we're talking to? What are they? We have games, we call it games for everything. Everything is measured. everything, because if you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. People say to me, I'm doing my best. Doesn't work. How many sales you're going to have next month? I'll do my best. Doesn't work. Give a number. Yeah, commit to a number. If you have two sales person, one of them is saying, I'll do my best. One of them says to you, I'll give you 10 deals. You will probably go for the one saying 10 deals because he gave you his promise. Now he will go out there and make sure that he can do the best and get it. And if not, and if in the middle of the month it's only one, you can then check with him what's missing. It's not about complaining, or it's not about making people wrong. It's about what is missing. What do you need more? Do you need more resources, more marketing? What do you need more? Maybe the pitch is not complete. Maybe we are approaching the wrong people. Let's manage it. But when we have a number, we have a reference. Yeah. So, Yuri, from what you heard so far, tell me a little bit about some of the thoughts that you have now, and I don't know, maybe nothing is new for you, but what did you see here?
Well, what I picked up so far, and I wrote some of this down, is to build a story. And what you also asked about the associations is why would they promote this? I need to have that down once we move forward with them. And then ask investors what they need to see in order for them to invest. So this is something that typically I have done, but now because of the situation I haven't actually, and there's no reason why. So I just need to go back to these guys and say, look, I know it's a tough situation, but what do you need to see from us for you to change your mind and come back to the table? So I think that's something that I can do, that to first of all keep them active, and also set milestones for myself then in that. Yeah.
Now you mentioned the story, amending the story. I talk to startups now and they give me the same pitch they had 2 months ago. This is wrong. Everything has changed. It's crazy where we live in. The story has to be totally different. It's a Corona story. It's a Corona product. And otherwise people will not be able to, it has to have a adjustment to where we are. Obviously you have great technology, you have great app, but how can it help me now? How can you help me now? Of course there is strategy and there is a long term, but people will need to see, and also pricing. Valuations are different. Yeah, it's different situation and we don't know how long it will take. People say the vaccine will happen in 2021. I don't know, maybe 2022. Until then, there will be a bit of a chaos. And for me, chaos is good. Chaos allows everything, it's a reshuffle. Yeah. The big ones are now, it's everybody's equal now. Everybody can do almost everything. So, adapting the story, adapting the pricing, as you've done. Yeah, you say, guys, now because of the situation, we give you 4 months free. You can check it. You can try it. You can see the impact. You can see that this can generate revenue to you. Now, one more thing that I'm always fascinated about is that entrepreneurs are missing one point which is very crucial on getting people to say yes when you talk to them. They only talk about features of the system and they don't talk about the person you're talking to. People will take decision based on what's in it for them. People will, the psychology is always what's in it for me. And when I'm talking to, to brands, to clubs, you need to understand what is the motivation, whatever senior the guy is, what is his motivation? Because taking the club, enhancing the CRM or enhancing a new app, it's nice, but there is a lot of risk there. Because if it's go wrong, it's his ass, yeah? So on one hand, you want to reassure him, but also you need to understand his motivation. Some of them would like to be able to show that they are innovative. Some of them would like, each one of them is looking for different angles which will make them tick and make them operate. In my business, I know some of them would like to be part of, our advisory. Some of them would like to see startups in early stages where we're doing the accelerators. Some of them are interested to invest, so they would like to co-invest. I need to understand when I'm talking to a customer, partner, and investor, I need to understand what's in it for him. What is his, where is, and this is coming only by asking questions. Some of us, the entrepreneurs, we come, we give our pitch, we talk about the impact of our product, we talk about benefits, blah, 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 which is okay. But usually it will not crack it. It will not give us the deal. The deal will come when we are also understanding the human being on the other side. We ask questions and we see what make him tick. What will be the thing? Some of them it's the discount. Some of them doesn't want the discount. Some of them they would like to show that they got a good deal. It's always about listening, asking the questions, and getting the other person. And this is the art. Because sometimes you have the best product in the world, but people are not buying it. So especially in this case, when you're talking to senior people in clubs, usually in your case, I believe it's about CEOs or very senior people taking this decision. You need to understand the person. And coming from referrals is always best because you have like an opening. So with your association, it could be good because it gives you like a stamp of, I would say, of quality, but you still need to resell it from A to Z. You still need to create the rapport, to understand the other side, to be able to really, sell it from A to Z. But they gave you the first 5 cents, the 5 meters they gave you. They opened the door to you because now he has a little bit of listening to you. But so I think looking at the story and making it relevant to now, the pricing structure, if you can do installments, maybe some of them can pay next year. I don't know, it depends on the products and the services. But there has to be adjustment. I'm not selling my products now in full price. It's totally different. It's totally different. And also understand that a lot of people are at home now. I see you're in the office in Finland, which is, very rare. Most of the people are working from home. They are looking for interesting things to do. They are looking for challenging things to do. If we put it together nicely, wrap it up for them, so it's in line with their strategy and their vision, then they can help us push it forward. So the 2 points I mentioned are understanding what's in it for me, for the customer, for the person you're talking to. And the other thing is adapt your story so it's relevant and people understand why they need to buy from you and why now.
Sounds good.
Okay, good. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Not that I can think of. I think this was the main discussion point that I wanted to.
Now, speaking a few words about funding.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned in one of my webinars, I have a friend that in every world crisis, he always tells me, Amir, that's a good time for me to wear my best suit, take my case with millions of dollars and go out and buy and invest. There are investors which are now shy. They are not doing anything. or they're saving their own investments. There are investments which are now out there in the hunt. They're looking for great valuation for great startups. They're looking for great investment. They're out there, especially in esports. And there will be more and more as we get used to this routine of emergency routine. So if people say, no investors now, what shall I do? I'll just wait for them to wake up. No good. There are investors. But you focus on what you do. Get your stuff done. And then when you're ready, the investor will be around. And look for the places that will be more virtual. Because investors needs to invest. You know, this is their job. They have 100 million in money in the bank. What should they do now? Go to sleep for 2 years? They're still investing.
Yeah, it's just increasingly hard. Well, not increasingly, but it's been quite hard to meet new investors because of this. Because typically, we'd go to these different events and we'd do pitching in these different events, and then you get to meet people. And it's always best when you meet face to face and they hear your pitch and then you can talk about it. But now it's hopefully more sort of investment webinars will come up where they will also hold private chat rooms or something that you can then do private chatting as well.
The world is moving to virtual meetings.
Yeah.
So I think to myself, why should I drive to Tel Aviv now, hour, and then find parking? Why people should come and meet me in Tel Aviv now? It's a hassle. They can talk to me like this. People and investors will move now more to virtual activities, and you have your logo in the background, which is great. You are going, you can share documents here. That's a great place to be. Some people are saying, no, I'm a generation of personal contact and I have to meet and hug people. Okay, but the world is moving forward fast. 2030 is moving towards us very fast. So let's be efficient and let's be killers in this platform, because this is probably where you're going to do most of your pitching now. So I agree, investors, some of the investors, maybe more, most of the investors now are checking and they are very, I would say, slow, and they are all, under a bit of a shock. Okay, it is what it is. But slowly they will come out because they have money to invest. And when they do that, you are well ahead of the game. Okay.
Thank you, Amir.
Very much, Yuri. Regards to your team, and keep on the good work.
We have one team member stuck in Hawaii, which isn't half bad for her.
It's not a bad place to get stuck, I hope.
Yeah.
For him.
All right. Thanks a lot, Amir. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.